Hello pre-calculus students, and welcome to the video on solving exponential equations and functions, in particular dealing with word problems. And we are working with number 2 today in this video. It says you are growing a culture of bacteria in the lab. After 2 hours you have 12 bacteria. After 43 hours, or you find that there are 43 bacteria in there after 5 hours. Assuming that the growth is exponential, how many bacteria will there be 24 hours after you started, and how many bacteria did you start with? Okay. And so a couple key words here, assuming the growth is exponential. So if you know that the growth is exponential, you know that the equation is going to be something like y equals a times b to the x. Something like that. And so I'm going to put this aside and kind of work through this together here. So one of the things that is always helpful in these situations is just to get the data out into a table and something that's, separated from the text. We still need to know the meaning, but we can work more directly with the data. So let's make a table. So I'm going to call T, this is going to represent hours since the start. And then I'm going to say f of t is the number of bacteria. So when I start out, t is equal to 0, and I don't really know how many bacteria are there. When after 2 hours, it says I have 12 bacteria. Okay, just a quick reference here. It says after 2 hours, you have 12 bacteria. After 5 hours, you have 43. So after 5 hours, we have 43. And then we want to know what happens after 24 hours. How many bacteria will you have then? And we know that it's exponential. I'm gonna, just that we have a variable to work with, I'm gonna call this y. Okay? So f of t is also equal to y. So we'll start, we know that it's got to be y equals ab to the t, okay, because it's exponential. And we're going to use one of the points here to solve for a. So we'll use this point. So I know that when y equals 12, t equals 2. That's how we start this. And so this gives me 12 equals ab squared. 12 over b squared equals a. Doesn't really solve anything for me, but it makes things a little bit simpler so I can move on to the next phase. In the next step, I know another bit of information, namely that when y equals 43, t equals 5. So I know that 43 equals ab to the 5th power. Okay? That's what that data point tells me. But I know something better than this. I know the value for a, so I can take this and substitute it in here. Okay? You don't have to draw all these crazy arrows on your paper. I just want to illustrate that that's true. So I know that 43 equals 12 over b squared times b to the 5th. 43 equals 12 times b to the 3rd, because b to the 5th over b squared gives you b to the 3rd. And if I want to solve for b, divide both sides by 12. And then I want to raise both sides by 1/3 in order to get rid of the 3rd power there. Okay. So now you get that 43 over 12 to the 1/3 is equal to b. So this is not a nice looking number, but at least it's a number. We don't have to worry about variables here. So now that I have b, we're going to use it to solve for a. I know that 12 over b squared is equal to a, but b is equal to this, right? This is what b is equal to. So that's 43 over 12 to the 1/3. And simplify things here. 12 over 43 over 12. 1/3 squared is to the 2/3 is equal to a. And you can certainly see here that this is not an easy or a nice function to deal with, but this is how reality is. So I know my final equation is f of t equals ab to the t here, ab to the t, but I know that a is equal to this massive number, 12 over 43 over 12 to the 2/3, times b, which is 43 over 12 to the 1/3. That whole thing raised to the t power. Okay, so this is not the final answer, but certainly a major point in getting the solution. And now, if I want to find when t equals 0 and when t equals 24, all I really need to do is substitute that into my graphing calculator. Now I want to show you a great way to use your graphing calculator here to make life a little bit easier for yourself. So one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to store this number here, this value of a. So I'm going to do 43 over 12, and I just want to start kind of with the simplest parts here. 43 over 12 raised to the 2/3. And then 12 divided by that. So you're going to go 12 divided by the answer, which is second, and then the negative sign. 12 divided by that. And then I'm going to store it in a variable. So you see this key here, STO and alpha A. So now whenever I type A, I know that it's this value here. It's converted to a kind of a irrational decimal there, but that's fine. It's still the same thing as this. Then I'm going to do the same thing for B. 43 over 12, 43 over 12 raised to the 1/3, raised to the 1/3 power. And we're going to store that in B. So I know that this is A, this is B. And in my grapher, I'm going to type A times B to the X. And now when I go to my table, let's hit second table. I'm going to clear out all this stuff here so you can see. But as a way to check, right, if I type in 2 for X, I should get 12 for Y. Let's make sure that's true. If I type in 2 for X, I do get 12 for Y. Hopefully you see that on the video there. It is true. If I type in 5 for X, I should get 43 for Y. You can see that. And now if I want to solve the other problems, when X equals 24, Y is approximately 139,300. So I can answer that question now. F of 24 is approximately 139,301. If I wanted to find F of 0, I can do the exact same thing. Just go into my table, type in 0. And you can see that I started with approximately 5. And you always want to round down to the nearest bacteria, because you can't have half a bacteria is about 5. So this answers both of those questions. Now, this problem is technically done. If this was a test problem, a quiz problem, you'd be done and you can move on. But for the purposes of learning, I'm going to start another video where we continue doing this problem, and I'm going to show you how to do this another way. And you're going to want to pay attention, because this other way could potentially make things a lot easier for you. And so thank you for watching. Remember to watch the next video as well.